Third time is a charm on this presentation that does not want to record. My name is J.Speedy. This is my week 3, assignment 1, integrating psychological knowledge into public policy presentation. We will be discussing schizophrenia all the way from diagnostic criteria down to utility of advancements in policy. First of all, diagnostic criteria for schizophrenia can be found in the DSM as well as the ICD-10. There's a long list of characteristics, but in a nutshell, it's 2 or more of the following symptoms: delusions, hallucinations, disorganized speech, disorganized or catatonic behavior, and negative symptoms like diminished emotional expression or avolition. With one of the symptoms, at least one of the symptoms, having to be delusions, hallucinations, or disorganized speech. And those symptoms have to have occurred for a significant amount of time during a 1-month period that has impacted functioning in a major life area, such as work or education or self-care. And it has to persist for at least 6 months and cannot be attributed to substance use or a medical condition or another mental disorder like schizoaffective disorder, for example. The trajectory of public policy related to schizophrenia has expanded as our understanding of schizophrenia has expanded. So, for example, NAMI, many of you have heard, National Alliance on Mental Illness, they're able to provide programs such as recovery groups, educational groups, support for family members, support for those who have been diagnosed with schizophrenia, as well as other mental disorders. It's not just schizophrenia. Alongside NAMI, a more recent example is the Care Court Act, passed in California this year by Governor Newsom, which basically, the gist of it, allows those suffering from schizophrenia and other severe mental illnesses to access court-ordered care plans focused on stabilization and wellness, as well as housing. SAMHSA is another program that does have federal funding. It comes from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. And it provides programs and funding around mental health and substance use, prevention, treatment, and recovery. Even other U.S. departments, such as HUD, has adopted programs such as housing is not contingent upon maintaining mental health treatment for people who are homeless and suffering from severe mental illness like schizophrenia. Next, we'll go into the implications for those who have schizophrenia and how policy has kind of impacted that. Basically, according to the World Health Organization, the WHO, approximately 24 million, or 1 in 300 people, have schizophrenia. We know by now it's often associated with significant distress and impairment in multiple areas of life: family, occupational, educational. And people with schizophrenia are 2 to 3 times more likely to die earlier than the general population. So the WHO recommends proper medication, psychoeducation, family intervention, CBT, and psychosocial rehabilitation, like life skills training. But family members and friends, which are stakeholders in this, are also impacted by schizophrenia through a variety of ways. A 2016 study by Lippy demonstrated that parents and family members reported feeling stressors such as embarrassment, shame, hopelessness, feeling inadequate and incapable of caring for their loved one, exhaustion from lack of sleep, and even loneliness, to name a very scant few. Because it's a dramatic adjustment for anybody having to care for somebody with schizophrenia. Due to the later onset of schizophrenia, this is a time when parents are expecting their children to move out of the house and regain independence, that they are now saddled with having to try and care for somebody who has an increasing number of difficult symptoms to manage. So, creating more support and educational self-help groups for stakeholders, such as what NAMI does, as well as long-term residential facilities with varied levels of supervision, are proposed by Lippy from the 2016 study as solutions, alongside the ones that the WHO named, such as psychosocial and psychotherapeutic interventions. So we have seen under the Biden administration an allocation of federal funding for those who have suffered from schizophrenia, such as the $700 million to programs like the Behavioral Health Workforce Education and Training Program, $225 million allocated to increase the number of community health workers, and $5 million allocated for research into treatments for those who have severe mental health issues like schizophrenia. And all of this data comes from the White House 2022. When well-being, or the well-being of those who are diagnosed with schizophrenia is increased positively when treatment is widely accepted. As the Fleischacker et al.'s 2014 study exhibits, the environment supports those with schizophrenia when the environment supports those with schizophrenia, it makes recovery a promotable and accessible ideal. Factors that contribute to this include supportive legislation, social inclusion, housing access, like what the HUD is doing, employment opportunities, social services, and family support. These contributions to a supportive environment allow personal agency, they allow support, and that means that those with schizophrenia can find wellness within their illness in light of policies centered on building resiliency and personal agency. And that comes from Palmer et al. 2014. Okay, that's where we got stuck last time. We're doing good, people. So, have such advancements been useful or helpful? The consensus from the peer-reviewed literature and experts on the topic seem to be yes, but we can still strive for better. As Castillo et al. Succinctly concluded in their 2018 study, that continued dialogue and culture change is still necessary to impel broader public policy reform and advance issues of equity for those suffering from severe mental illness like schizophrenia. And then here are my references if you can read them. If you are curious, by all means, I'm happy to send them. They will be in the comment on my discussion post. Thank you.